You're going to hear a lot about our upcoming WCX event that's taking place April 5th through the 7th in Detroit, Michigan. If you have questions, please enter them in the chat area, and we will look to answer those following the presentation. Really happy to be back in person for WCX. It'll be the first time since 2019 that we've been able to get back in person with you all. We have a really excellent event planned. We have a lot of interesting discussions that will be taking place this year at WCX as the automotive and mobility industry goes through an incredible transformation over the last several years. We're going to be covering topics such as automation, artificial intelligence, having discussions regarding the internal combustion engine versus electrified propulsion. We're going to be talking about sustainability. So we have a really interesting event ahead of us this year. Today, I will be opening things up and handing things over to my colleagues, Gretchen Stokes and Mark Leduc, who will cover some of the features, benefits, the technical program, the leadership summit, and some of the keynote presentations. We're not untouched by the pandemic. We're not really that much different than a lot of other events that are taking place out in the industry. We're anticipating, we've planned for and anticipated lighter attendance compared to the last time you may have seen us in person in 2019. This has allowed us to make some improvements both in the layout and execution of the event. And both Mark and Gretchen will cover these in greater detail as we progress throughout today's presentation. The mission and the purpose behind WCX has always been the same throughout its history, and it's really about building better engineers for the mobility industry. And that's through education, networking, and business development. Again, this event has been created by engineers for engineers, and we have an incredible list of volunteers that have stepped up to really help us prepare and develop this year's event. And some of those are here with us today. I really want to take the opportunity to thank our technical advisory group for all the leadership and guidance they have given us this year in putting this year's program together. Without further ado, I'd like to turn this over to Gretchen Stokes, who will take you through some of the features we have for this year's WCX.
So we are going to gather April 5th through the 7th at Huntington Place in Detroit. And one of the key factors of this event, really three critical things that remain consistent year over year. The reason why people come to this event is to network, see new technology on the show floor, and hear the technical presentations. So we're really excited that we have a great technical program put together with the help of the technical advisory group, along with all of our volunteers. So I'm just sharing with you some of the demographics of who attends this event. It does remain an event created by engineers for engineers. And Mark will be talking about that a little bit more in the next few slides. So one of the key components of the event, again this year, will be the exhibit. There are still opportunities for folks to not only sponsor, but also exhibit on the show floor. And we've just listed some of the value add features of being a part of that show floor. Certainly what we're seeing this year, and I'll share a list here in a few slides, is a lot of new companies are joining us this year. There's an opportunity to really come and see and hear some new and exciting developments that have happened in the industry. So some of the features on the show floor this year, we will have an SAE pavilion, which is a large space that will be out on the show floor, which will include many of our business units. And I think one of the key components of this pavilion is hearing what has happened since the pandemic. As we all know, we're coming out of the pandemic with a lot of innovation and change. SAE has had to adjust and adapt and pivot, just as every other organization has as well. So in that pavilion, you'll be able to hear how we've had to pivot to be able to meet our members' needs. One of the feature areas of the pavilion will be a STEM area, so you can hear what we're doing in the STEM arena. And then we're also pleased to have the Mobility History Committee, a longstanding feature of the event, will be incorporated into the overall SAE pavilion. I've listed some of the other feature areas. We will have a startup pavilion with our partnership through GAMIC. We have a battery pavilion planned, and then the J3300 Standards Committee will have an on-site driving skills ride and drive experience. So I've listed some of the exhibitors, and I can tell you this list was updated as of about 6 a.m. this morning, and I'm sure it's changed since then. One of the things that we're finding is that companies are waiting to make that final decision, not only to exhibit or sponsor, but also to attend. And we see that consistently throughout all of our events and throughout the meetings industry in general. So I invite you to check back, visit the website often to take a look at who those companies are so that you can plan your visit when you come to WCX. Again, this year we will have a mobile app. So that will be a great way to stay in touch, because we found the only constant will be change, and it's going to be happening very quickly as we move forward between now and April. So the event will take place at Huntington Place, formerly COBO. It also had a third name in there, but that was so short-lived we didn't even put it on the slide. That was TCF Place. But Huntington Place, formerly COBO, is the building we will be in. We'll be situated in Hall D for the exhibit. And then all of the Leadership Summit and the keynote presentations will be taking place in the Grand Riverview Ballroom. So we're excited to be back in Detroit and at Huntington Place. One of the features on the show floor is the Learning Lab. So this is a great space to have some very short, brief presentations that go a little bit deeper into the technology that's being presented in the technical sessions. And we're pleased this year that Ford will be sponsoring the Learning Lab, which will be on the show floor. GAMIC is actually taking place on the day prior to the start of the opening of the exhibit, so Monday, April 4th. We're pleased again to be partnering with the Global Automotive and Mobility Innovation Challenge. This is very similar to the Shark Tank concept. This is an event that has been taking place with the finals at WCX for the past 15 years. So we invite you to come and be a part of that. It is happening on Monday before a lot of the activities are taking place throughout the building. That event will also be live streamed as well. On Wednesday evening, Ford will be hosting, along with our Detroit section, the 2022 Ford Maverick Vehicle Event. This is always a popular feature of WCX. This is something that you will need to be registered as a WCX attendee, and then you can add on the purchase of a ticket for this event onto your registration. So we're really excited to have you come and see what's happening with the Ford Maverick, also the North American Truck of the Year. So we're really excited to have them as a part of the program. On Thursday, for those of you that have been to WCX or World Congress in the past, we previously had a banquet. And the last time we met in person was 2019, and we revamped that banquet format and held a gala. And this was one of the highlights of the week. It's a very informal setting that allows folks to network, celebrate, and wrap up the week. So that will take place on Thursday in the atrium at Huntington Place. And thanks to GM for sponsoring that. So a little bit about some of the particulars for attending. This year, of course, with the pandemic, we are asking folks to submit some vaccination or negative test status. That's something that will happen through the registration process. So once you register for the event, you can access the CrowdPass app, where you can upload your vaccination card or a negative test within 72 hours of the event. If you prefer, you can bring those documents on site to show us in the registration area. So registration will be a two-step process on site. You can go to the CrowdPass area for the COVID protocol, and then move on to pick up your badge. All of it can be handled in advance, so we encourage you to pre-register for the event and upload your proof of vaccination or negative test prior to the event. As of right now, masks are optional in Huntington Place, so feel free to wear a mask if you would like to. Another change this year is that our host hotel will be the Westin Book Cadillac. That's the official hotel. All of the hotel and travel information is live on our website, and you can also register. Registration is open. The deadline to book your hotel room at the discounted rate in our room block is March 11th. So we encourage you to book your hotel room now. For those of you that aren't familiar, the Westin is a 3-block walk to Huntington Place. And there's also a stop on the People Mover, just a block from the Westin. So you can also access the building through the People Mover. So with that, I will turn it over to my colleague, Mark Leduc, to take us through the program. Mark?
Thank you very much, Gretchen. Really appreciate it. This is going to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. So please go to the website, take a look at all the information that I am going to provide. All of this information is there, but we want to give you a brief overview of what's going on. Each day we start out with an activity that is designed to inspire engineers to think differently around the ideas of the vehicle, to get inspired to look at things a little differently each morning. So we have a couple of keynotes followed by an equitable mobility breakfast, and panel discussion. April 5th, we have John Snoddy, who is with Walt Disney Engineering. He is going to actually talk about the issue of the artificial intelligent activities that they're working on at Disney. The intent really is to look at that human machine experience and to take a look at the ideas that Disney is doing within that group to look at what is possible within the vehicle itself. So we hope that you'll find some inspiration in the words from John. So we're very excited about that activity. Second, we've clearly known it's been since 19 that we've been back in person. So we brought Jeff DeGraff, who is known as the Dean of Innovation from his days at Domino's Pizza, and that turnaround of that organization is really going to talk about the power of constructive conflict and looking at innovation in this COVID climate. Clearly, we are not all going back to what it was. We had a great conversation here in the room about the various hybrid activities and things, and he's really going to talk about that next generation workforce, to take a look at how innovation, vaccination is an example of how that vaccine was developed as an opportunity for the engineering community to think a little differently about how it designs and develops vehicles. Additionally to that same thing, we talk about a lot of autonomous vehicle, EV, all of those things. So we wanted to take this opportunity to talk about the future of mobility and to take a look at how to achieve equitable mobility for all. Great conversation topic. Lots of organizations are looking at this issue. So we have a breakfast starting at 8 o'clock. Then we have a brief keynote followed by a panel discussion. So we encourage all of you to come to that. Just to let you know, that's April 7th, and we want you you can register for Expo only or a full conference registration pass. We'll get you into that, and that again is in the Grand Ballroom. And we would be remiss if we didn't thank our sponsor, Toyota, who has been working with us for many years. Some of you may be familiar with the Women Leading Innovation discussions we've done in previous years. We took a little pivot and looking at equitable mobility. So thank you to the Toyota group. So now you've done the keynote in the morning, and this is what I like to think of. It's now the journey. Where do you go from here? You have the aforementioned exhibit hall. You have the knowledge bar, which is an opportunity to kind of chat with the expert in the exhibit floor. And then, of course, the leadership summit, which we'll talk about, and then the technical content. So once you walk out of that grand ballroom, there's a lot of opportunity to do different things depending upon what you'd like to do. So for 22, We talked about that power of the volunteer. There's about 4,000 individuals that take the time to develop the content. As we talked about, slightly smaller program with about 450 on-site presentations, and we still plan to publish around 800 technical papers. So you can purchase those individually, or if your company has a subscription, it's an opportunity for you to take a look at that. And then again, we encourage you to come on site to Detroit and take a listen to the 450 on-site presentations. Now, I like to refer to WCX as a bits to bytes and nuts to bolts sort of thing. So we know the software vehicle is on its way, if not already here, the software defined vehicle, but there's still a lot of the hardcore mechanical aspects that are still very critical involved into the development of a vehicle. So we have advanced propulsion, that's both powertrain and ICE and EV and hydrogen and hybrids. We then look at electrification, connectivity, smart city, that whole vehicle. Where's connectivity? The vehicle within itself, vehicle to vehicle connectivity, and in the environment that we have. Body chassis, occupant protection. We have a gentleman here who's an old occupant protection guy and crash worthy. We have that both from crash worthiness, but also the accident avoidance technology. So that's really a huge, going from L1 to SAE L1 to L2 to L3, that whole issue of occupant protection. We have emission and sustainability. We would clearly, we're looking at the reduction of emissions and environment and taking a look at those critical issues around EV and thermal management, as well as for ICE. We would be neglectful if we didn't talk about vehicle design, as well as looking at the manufacturing practices. So we have sessions there. Materials and lightweighting. That's clearly how do we make the vehicle lighter so that we can get more miles per charge. Taking a look at all of those sessions there. We have a military ground vehicle. We think technology transfer is really critical. We got a full 3 days of what is the military doing in EV and autonomous and accident, not accident reconstruction, but occupant protection, all of those things that are really critical for the military that have tech transfer. And then, of course, the noise and vibration. So we have about 100 sessions. This includes on demand. So not everyone is able to come and present in person. So we've asked those individuals to provide a pre-recorded presentation. So based upon company policies, we'll have those available on the digital platform. We then move on from the technical side. If you're looking at the business of technology, this is where we have the Leadership Summit. We've been doing this for many, many years in different names, but essentially it's really where we get technical executives sitting around talking about the issues that are most critical on the business development side of vehicle development. So we're going to talk about data. We're going to talk about that critical nature of who owns the data, where's the data, what do you do with the data, all of that. We're going to talk about level 2. Everyone goes to level 4 automatically, but there is so much wealth of information and development still able in a level 2 system. So we talk about whether L2 is a convenience system or L2 is a safety system, or whether it's both. And how does that customer understand and utilize that technology? We're going for the Gemba, which is really looking at that future edge case with looking at autonomous vehicles. So that and the military will be really interesting. We'll talk about sustainability. We talk about it from the vehicle side, but also looking at manufacturing and SAE's new Office of Sustainability. EV chargers and infrastructure. Well, this is where we were talking about the rubber meets the road. How is charging infrastructure going to be developed? What's going to be required in order to put all of these new EVs on the road, if indeed the intent and by 2035 is to look at having electric vehicles be that dominant source of propulsion. We then talk to that balance between now and that time with the portfolio discussion between propulsion and powertrain, between EV and ICE. Great discussion there. We're going to talk about e-drive and transmission, talking about that new conversion from mechanical to electrical, and talking about all of the information that's interesting and being able to talk about the business side of it, but also the technical challenges. And last but not least, hydrogen. We can't forget that hydrogen is a source out there. People are still developing it. Where is it going? What's the business case for it? Looking at it both from a light duty, but also a commercial vehicle side. We talked about the knowledge bar real quick. This is what we call our chat with expert. It's our little twist on it. We ask you to open a tab at our knowledge bar. The knowledge bar expert is basically our version of a bartender. You come up, belly up to the bar, bring your questions, issues, and concerns to a subject matter expert for about a 40-minute conversation, one-on-one. Little bit of free consulting if you ask me about bringing these experts in to share their knowledge and experience, and also share between the individuals within that room. So we encourage you to take a look at the website for that. Now we have Offsite Events. This is now getting to the April 4th and 5th time frame. We have a series of professional development courses. So we encourage you to take a look at what's going on with tolerant stacks, vehicle safety, automated, highly automated, and accident reconstruction. Additionally, we've had a program that we put into WCX for the last couple of years. On Monday, April 4th, we now rebranded it called Slices. It's basically Sustainable Low Impact Combustion Engine Symposium. Really critical topic. Take an opportunity. It's an extra registration fee to do that, but that's on Monday down at Huntington Place on April 4th. We understand that not everybody can come. We know that not everybody can be in person. So we have some limited content that we are providing through live stream and our digital app. And so you can see here on the screen that we're looking at 15 different sessions that will be live streamed so that you can view those from your home. Largely powertrain propulsion in one room, and then connectivity and safety in another. Love to do everything, but too cost prohibitive. So we've made a very concise set of content there. We're also making the keynotes available live stream, as well as the leadership summit. And as I mentioned before, we will have as part of that digital package, those on-demand presentations that individuals will pre-record will be available on the platform. That's part of the purchase package as well. Also, if you're an in-person person and you register for a full conference, you can get that as part of the digital platform package as well, those particular presentations. So, like I said, it feels like you've jumped into the deep end of the pool. You've drank from the fire hose, lots of information. So if there are any questions, this is the time to ask. So Gretchen, I'm just going to see over there if we have any questions that we might be able to answer.
So Mark, I don't see any questions at this time. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments section. Just type your questions in there, and certainly you can follow up with us afterwards as well. We will make a recording of this presentation available to everybody who has joined, as well as those who have registered but weren't able to join us. We'll also be sending out to you a digital brochure that will contain a lot of information, but we ask you to visit the website, bookmark the website, go back frequently, because the one thing we know is that this event will continue to evolve and change over the next 27 days. So this will conclude our program, but I would ask for one call to action from this group. For those of you that have been a part of this meeting in the past, we used to hold this meeting in January, known as the ILC meeting, and really, the folks who have joined this call today, we consider you our ambassadors, not only for WCX but also for World Congress. And we're very grateful. As Mark mentioned, the volunteer aspect of what we do cannot be put into context. It's just amazing how many people volunteer to put this program together. So we're very thankful for that. We are very appreciative of all of your efforts. The only call to action I would ask is that you share what you learned today. And we'll be creating a toolkit that we can send out to you that will allow you to post on social media, share with your networks, pass on information within your organizations to help us get the word out that we are back, we are in person, and we're going to meet in April. So we look forward to having everyone join us then. So thank you for being here today, and we'll hope to see you in April. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.